was a really big choice. Really real life. It's not me that they're talking about. It's some caricature. But that's the truth. I'm still the same person.
They tear it apart.
Meghan Markle wants you to believe she's authentic, relatable, and just being herself. But the more she insists on being real, the more staged it all looks. From dance videos to platitudes about pressure and perfection, every move feels less like honesty and more like strategy. In this video, we're breaking down how Meghan's latest rebrand collapses under its own contradictions, and why the buzzwords don't match the reality. Ready to be empowered? Let's get this authentic and organic show on the road. Welcome aboard.
Do you feel like it's hard to sort of show your whole self?
One of Emily Chang's many deep and profound questions. Meghan couldn't have scripted it any better. Wait.
I waffle with some of my choices before I make them. I'm generally very decisive, but social media is a great barometer for this for me, because putting out a video of myself 9 months pregnant was a really big choice, but I also wanted people to see themselves in my story and our story, and to be able to show that with all the noise that might happen in the world on a day-to-day basis, real life is still happening behind the scenes. Really real life.
So, posting a video of yourself dancing is supposed to convince us that there's a really real life happening behind the scenes. A genuine, authentic life.
Really real life. Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance? Honesty and that, like, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. Really real life.
That's the problem. When authenticity is this deliberate, it stops being authentic. And Meghan never misses a chance to remind us just how real and authentic that dance video was supposed to look.
Just be authentic. Did you see my baby mama dance?
But here's the thing, posting the dance video wasn't spontaneous. It was strategy, a carefully staged move in her ongoing rebrand. Meghan, the down-to-earth, relatable entrepreneur, rolled out after her complaints in the Oprah interview and the Harry and Meghan docu-series. Complaints that didn't exactly win her world's sympathy. And because it was so calculated, it lost the very authenticity it was supposed to prove, which is probably why Meghan overcompensates, overemphasizing how real it all is, precisely because it isn't.
I waffle with some of my choices.
Apparently, Meghan doesn't waffle enough with her choices, because the fact that the dance video wasn't a smart tactical move wasn't just predictable, it was inevitable. She released it amid the critical disaster that was the first season of With Love, Meghan. It wasn't a big choice, it was intentional damage control, which, ironically, only made things worse. For someone who claims to want privacy, Meghan sure spends a lot of time publicizing private moments.
But I also wanted people to see themselves in my story and our story.
Looking at the context of the video, the reason she gives couldn't sound more faux, empathetic, vague, or pretentious. What story? It's never been about people. It's always been about self-branding. Credit where it's due. Harry made it into the story. Barely.
My story and our story. But social media is a great barometer for this for me.
So I guess Meghan's back to thinking social media is a good thing. How interesting. Totally not a rebrand.
You were off social media for years and now you're back on. Do you feel like you're sort of launching a new you or rebranding yourself?
No, I think, how funny, no.
Next, let's break down the contradiction between what Meghan has said about social media in the past versus what she's saying now.
But you put that out there and some people, like, they tear it apart, you know?
I'm sure they did, I don't know. But I also protect myself from seeing that.
So I guess Meghan only wants to include people in her story. Their story, my apologies. If they applaud the dance video. Protect myself from seeing that, Meghan says, invoking victim language, when in reality, she doesn't want to see it because she doesn't want to be criticized.
Maybe 1% of what's in the world I would see, and only if it's brought to me. I've really tried to distance myself from all of it. It allows me to live my life really authentically, make choices authentically. But it also allows me to be really detached from the outcome. I can just show up, I can put good work out there. I feel confident with what we've created, and then let it go.
She frames it as inspiring and empowering, but this is exactly why her projects, including the dance video, keep failing. She refuses to learn from her mistakes. These aren't the words of a creator making content people actually want to see. These are the words of someone chasing self-interest through one failed rebrand after another. And judging by the way she says it, she seems to know what she's putting out isn't actually good work she can be confident in. Why would she be confident? I mean, the cooking show alone is rated lower than this movie.
Hello, sir. Joe.
Hey, Steve, how you doing? What's going on, Steve?
Not much, sir. There's a nurse in there giving him an injection.
Let's check it out.
This isn't the first time Meghan's leaned on victim language. A year ago, she claimed she avoided social media to protect her mental health.
So how have you been able to manage the seemingly endless toxicity that comes at you?
Yes, social media is a environment that I think has a lot of that. You know, it's really interesting as I can reflect on it. I keep my distance from it right now just for my own well-being, but...
And now, she calls returning to it liberating.
You've really embraced social media. Do you enjoy it, or does it feel like a bit of a drag?
No, it doesn't feel like a drag. It feels liberating.
So which Meghan are we supposed to believe? The one who says social media is damaging, or the one who now says it's liberating? And we're expected to take her authenticity seriously. Sure, if critical thinking is optional. When someone constantly pivots like that, any talk of emotional hurt or personal liberation becomes impossible to trust. And just to top it off, Emily's immaturity and bias as an interviewer are on full display here.
They tear it apart.
Journalism is truly a lost art, and it's about to get worse.
It's been interesting preparing for this interview because every day you search for your name and there's like 1,000 different news stories about 1,000 different things.
Yes.
And so...
But I guess the distinction there is those people don't know me and they're not talking about me. And that's a really hard place to come to terms with. Yeah. But that's the truth.
No, that's the convenient truth Meghan wants Emily and us to believe. Convenient because it shifts focus away from her divisive statements and actions, which have revealed unflattering traits, entitlement, and an inflated sense of self-importance.
Nobody prepares you.
No, but even down to like the national anthem. No one thought to say, "Oh, you're American. You're not going to know that. That's me late at night Googling what's the national. I've got to learn this."
It was at that moment that I realized the magnitude of my actions.
Here's a small hint. When someone tells you how real, authentic, and honest they are, it's usually because they know they're not.
But that's the truth.
This isn't just denial, it's evasion. Evasion from any real truth that could easily damage Meghan's rebrand. People have had plenty of chances to see her for who she is, just from what she's said and done. It's self-preservation, disguised as reflection. It's not a really hard place to come to terms with.
And that's a really hard place to come to terms with. Yeah.
It's deflection, and once again, shows that inflated sense of self-importance, which is probably why she keeps exaggerating how hard it is, precisely because it isn't.
And that's a really... By
that same logic, the people Meghan's criticized could say it's not really them she's criticizing, that they haven't done anything worthy of criticism. Does Meghan even hear herself? Notice how Emily oversimplifies the criticism, as if it's all the same invalid stuff. Sure, there'll always be gossip or lies about anyone famous, often from the same media outlets and creators, but much of the criticism Meghan faces is valid, especially when it's focused on her own statements and contradictions. Oversimplifying it is a perfect way to deflect from the real substance, and her interviewers, or more accurately, her helpers, make it easy.
So how have you been able to manage the seemingly endless toxicity that comes at you?
The interviewer labels it toxicity, without distinguishing between criticism and gossip, making it easy for Meghan to set the agenda and play on emotion and pity. Jamie Kern Lima does the same, never asking why Meghan faces backlash that so many other celebrities don't.
I've seen how the press is part of all the things. Getting to know you for who you truly are, I have never seen anything like what you go through on a daily basis.
I know.
But that's the truth. So if you can really compartmentalize it and go, oh, right, there is a very, very powerful machine, and it's all about generating income. Those stories aren't just appearing because it's fun. Clickbait has a huge financial implication. They're incentivized to churn out as many stories, false or damaging or whatnot.
Now, all criticism has conveniently been reduced to clickbait, which, of course, saves Meghan and her supporters, many of whom have little to no discernment, from actually looking at or confronting what she's done wrong, anything to evade responsibility. And using Meghan's own self-serving logic, she wouldn't know anything about clickbait, right? She wouldn't know anything about generating income by criticizing the very people who gave her a title and made her a household name, would she? And given her high moral standards. It's interesting how she claimed to have forgiven Catherine, the Princess of Wales, yet somehow found a way to criticize her all over again.
And she did what I would do if I knew that I hurt someone, right? To just take accountability for it. A few days before the wedding, she was upset about something pertaining to, yes, the issue was correct, about flower girl dresses. And it made me cry. And it really hurt my feelings. And I've forgiven her, right? And I thought in the context of everything else that was going on in those days leading to the wedding, that it didn't make sense to not be just doing what everyone else was doing, which was trying to be supportive, knowing what was going on with my dad and whatnot.
Meghan has built her entire career and made millions complaining about her husband's family. But now that she's on the receiving end, suddenly it's all clickbait and about generating income. I love how Meghan frames this as a matter of being able to compartmentalize, rather than actually dealing with the criticism.
But that's the truth. So if you can really compartmentalize it and go,
she generalizes with you, as if this is some universal problem everyone faces, when the truth is, other celebrities don't come close to the level of backlash she does. It's a masterclass in deflection. This is narcissistic denial of reality.
And I think from my standpoint, that's why I don't look at it. It would be very hard to see anything about yourself that isn't true. But equally, it's not me that they're talking about. It's some caricature they've had to create to get clicks. And I'm very clear on the difference between the two.
Do you feel like you have to be perfect?
What kind of follow-up question is that? Seriously. And Bloomberg calls this journalism. Emily leans on the perfection discourse, a popular trope these days, used to excuse almost any behavior, to make it seem like Meghan's being held to an impossibly high standard. But as Emily knows perfectly well, it's never been about perfection. People react to entitlement and self-centeredness when they see it. They react to lack of talent when they experience it. This question lets Meghan downplay criticism and play on pity, but before we see how she does that, let's break down what she actually says here. First, Meghan immediately categorizes negative news stories and videos as not true, an oversimplifying, self-serving move. So I guess the only true stories are the ones platforms like Netflix and Time make for her. Convenient, totally reliable. Her pronoun shift is telling. She starts with I but quickly moves to yourself, generalizing a backlash that's uniquely hers.
That's why I don't look at it. It would be very hard to see anything about yourself that isn't true.
It's as if everyone should relate to the level of backlash she's received, even though it stems directly from her own public statements and actions. Second, she takes self-preservation and denial a step further, claiming her critics aren't even talking about her. They're attacking a caricature. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a distortion that lets her ignore valid criticism of her many rebrands and entitled complaints. Funny how someone who complains about being caricatured has no problem caricaturing others.
fun.
But there's this take that you're glorifying homemaking or glorifying trad wives.
Oh, really? Though, would it be lovely to go and churn your own butter? Sure, maybe. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And I don't think you get an extra gold star if you do that. I have absolutely no judgment on trad wives.
And of course, Meghan acts like she's above getting clicks, as if clicks weren't the entire point of the trailers for her cooking show, or her personal Instagram promotions, to name a few.
But are you thinking about it in the way that so many of us do as also a business tool?
Not for my personal account.
Really?
No. For my personal account?
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's the one we're all following.
By framing herself as morally superior, she sidesteps the substance of the criticism entirely. Imagine if other creators or directors with low ratings said negative reviews were just about getting clicks. That's how clearly disingenuous or deceptive Meghan's statements really are.
Do you feel like you have to be perfect? Do you feel like you have to curate what you show us or be a more polished version of the Meghan that you are, like, you know, just at home putting your feet up on the couch?
I did feel that for a while. I felt a lot of pressure to, even though I wasn't seeing it, you could feel the energy of it. So you feel a lot of pressure to go, is this hair out of place? I bet it is, but I'm okay with it. Is someone gonna say something about anything? Probably. Once you make peace with the fact that they're gonna say something about anything, and that's a hard place to get, where you can make peace with that, then I think you just settle into being yourself.
Meghan talks like she hasn't done anything to deserve negative attention. She starts with I, but quickly shifts to you when discussing supposed pressure. Classic for someone not recounting personal experiences, but appealing to emotion and pity. Encouraged by Emily's leading and frankly immature question.
I felt a lot of
Meghan's
pressure
micropauses and restarts make sense in that light. She even shifts pronouns mid-sentence.
Even though I wasn't seeing it, you could feel the energy of it.
Nothing sounds more specific or reliable than that. I wonder what energy she's referring to. So when exactly did Meghan feel pressure? When she complained about having to Google the national anthem? Of course, late at night and no other time.
That's me late at night Googling.
Did she feel pressure to be a more polished version when she showed flat-out annoyance during the engagement interview?
For us, it's an opportunity to really get to know each other without other people, looking or trying to take photos on their phones and all that kind of stuff. With that comes with the job, comes with the role. But where possible,
And we were able to really get to know each other that way. But also then to go and have friends over for dinner, or to go to his family for tea, or.
Yeah.
Did she feel the pressure when she showed up unprepared to one of her first royal tasks and looked visibly unhappy while Catherine was speaking?
It's well known you've championed the empowerment of women and young girls and promoting their self-worth. How do you hope to continue that work with the Royal Foundation?
Yes, I mean, I think that knowing that I've just been here for 3 months, right?
Meghan's appeals to emotion and pity are as self-serving as Emily's question is empty, a hallmark of our zeitgeist where people use perfection demands as an excuse to evade responsibility.
So you feel a lot of pressure to go, is this hair out of place? I bet it is, but I'm okay with it.
If something as minuscule as this causes you to feel pressured, you're not really pressured at all. But then again, her answers reveal that she hasn't felt pressure. She claims she's felt a lot of pressure, but then immediately negates it, saying she's okay with it. She refuses to acknowledge criticism, even about minor things like hair. Tellingly, this is the only specific example she gives, and she struggles to provide any others.
Is someone going to say something about anything?
Her answers completely misalign with the more substantive polishing and curation Emily asked about. In other words, she successfully sets the agenda, turning what should be an interview into a monologue.
then I think you just settle into being yourself.
On the surface, this vague platitude is designed to make uncritical viewers nod along. Yes, just be yourself. Don't let others define you. So brave. But in context, which Meghan and Emily hope no one considers, there's nothing positive here. Being yourself becomes a way to say or do whatever you want, with no regard for others' input, criticism, or even truth. It's a tool to evade responsibility, cover up a lack of talent, or mask an inflated ego. In Meghan's case, platitudes like this only widen the gap between her brand identity, how she wants to be seen, and her brand image, how people actually see her. And the platitudes just keep rolling. Notice how Meghan closes her next turn. It's peak cliché. Brace yourself.
Then I think you just settle into being yourself. But whether you're high profile or not, it's hard to be a teenager. It's hard to be in your 20s. It's hard to be a mom for the first time. Every chapter, we're figuring it out for the first time. Every single chapter. And then you layer in just the natural change that happens as we get older. I don't think there's anything valuable about trying to be perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. And I guess my version of the closest thing to perfection would be being really comfortable in your own skin. And I do think that comes with time.
She says that as if she's ever been uncomfortable. You know what else comes with time in Meghan's case? Money. The money she got from her first Netflix deal. Money she earned by complaining about the very family that made her known. You know, to get clicks. Because clicks are only bad when people who disagree with her get them. When she does it, totally fine. After cashing in on the victim narrative, she now hides behind platitudes like being really comfortable in your own skin, to dodge responsibility, indulge in self-aggrandizement, and branch into industries where she lacks talent, training, and results. And if you criticize any of it, you're a hater or jealous. Never mind the poorly rated shows. Imagine any other director or creator using that excuse, that critics are just haters or caricaturing them. It exposes just how deceptive it is, and how self-serving platitudes become shields for lack of talent and inflated egos.
Just the natural change that happens as we get older.
Natural change? You mean like naturally keep ignoring what people say? Meghan steps into the role of life coach or philosopher, because apparently there's no area she isn't an expert in, talking about how hard it is to figure out different chapters of life. But here's the thing, people figure out those chapters by learning from criticism, learning from mistakes. Meghan hasn't done either. She repeats the same mistakes, project after project, while refusing to face feedback or even basic input.
But I also protect myself
You can
from
call
seeing
it
that.
protection or dress it up with emotional language, but really it's willfulness, which is why she hasn't figured anything out. One glance at the negative reviews and low ratings says it all. And when you haven't figured anything out, you're in no position to give advice. Yet Meghan took a question specifically about her supposed perfection pressure and turned it into a 2-minute generalized speech. Only because journalism is a lost art does Emily let her get away with it. I wouldn't be surprised if this touching speech lands Meghan another spot on Time's list of most influential people. Considering how sincere and unbiased Time CEO is, it wouldn't shock me.
I want to talk about you as a founder, as a CEO, as an innovator, as a creator, as an investor. We have the CEO of Netflix here. I did binge your show with Love, Meghan. There's nothing you can't do. You care for so many people. And you talk about joy and love. Everything that you do comes with caring for the people that are on your show and around you. How do you care for yourself?
Perfect doesn't exist. Perfect doesn't exist.
For the wrong kind of person, a claim like this becomes the perfect excuse, not to learn from mistakes, not to apologize for harmful statements, but to keep making self-aggrandizing claims and chasing rebrands at all costs, even at the expense of what people actually want to see. And that's the pattern. Platitudes and buzzwords dressed up as empowering or brave usually mean something very different. Self-serving, self-protective, and self-aggrandizing, exposing the gap between the performance and the reality. That's exactly what this channel is about. So if you want more breakdowns of public figures, make sure to subscribe. See you next time.
Do you see what they do there?
And there's giant pickles.
Look at my jalapenos, see?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you asked earlier about, do you feel the pressure to be real? We're human, we eat.
Yeah.
No matter what my name is or what people call me, I'm still the same person.